Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers in Johor Bahru sent Jingsi folding beds to the flood survivors. A special fleet of taxis have become the heroes behind Taiwan's epidemic prevention network. Welcome to Dai Headlines. I'm Simon Gan. Thank you for joining us. In Gelang Patah, Malaysia, many villagers' homes were flooded because of heavy rains, and even beds were not available. Tzu Chi volunteers in Johor Bahru urgently sent Jingsi folding beds to the survivors, hoping that they can have a good sleep at night. Let's take a look.
In Jalan Patang, Malaysia, the houses of many villagers were flooded due to heavy rains, and their mattresses and furniture were soaked. Villagers were forced to sleep on the cold floor.
Yesterday, we actually came to assess the damage and then found many of them do not have mattresses to sleep. There are some children and seniors with mobility issues or suffered a stroke before. They just slept on the floor, so we came again today to send in our Jingsi folding bed urgently, at least to settle their problem of sleeping at night.
Makcik, ini nak angkat mana?
Taruh sini aja lah.
Makcik tengok ah. Dia senang. Macam mana tarik pun boleh.
The portable, firm and foldable Jingsi folding bed, together with a pillow, becomes a comfortable place for the survivors to sleep.
Tidur selesa lah.
Now I can sleep more comfortably. After receiving this Jingsi folding bed, I can sleep well now.
This Jingsi folding bed comes just in time because it is portable. When we lie down, we can sit up easily. I really appreciate your help.
The simple Jingsi folding bed also allows the senior who suffered from stroke before and paralyzed in bed to sleep comfortably.
The floor is too hard and cold for sleeping and makes you ache all over on rainy days. The Jingsi folding bed is as soft as a spring bed. Uncle, is it acceptable to you?
With simple aid supplies, volunteers sincere care and help, survivors can rebuild their homes more quickly, minimizing the effects caused by the epidemic and flooding.
In the Philippines, authorities have eased the lockdown in Metro Manila, but most economic activities are still stalled. However, Tzu Chi Philippines chapter continues its aid distribution. In Quezon City, it gave out food to 1,000 families in need. Let's join them there.
Iba yung katayuan nila sa buhay, pero kaya kaming abutin. Yun yung parang natouch ako. Salamat ako na natin. Kasi napakabuti talaga ng puso.
The miracle could have been created by people. The volunteers clad in blue and white uniform calmed the minds of the impoverished residents. The variety of supplies are provided by Chinese businessmen. The residents have to carry them with both hands.
Thank you. This is real best wishes. For more than 4 months, we did not know what to do. We don't know what the next step should be.
Aside from helping them with material things, we also try to give them a spiritual thing, like to join us in the coin cans, right? So that in the future they are a part of us. At the same time, we are asking them to be vegetarian.
Among the 8 recipients, Lander Ayara has received Tzu Chi's help when her home caught on fire several years ago. Now she's reciprocating by donating her coin bank.
I do not always want to be helped. I should also learn to help other people. When I donated my field coin bank, I felt really good.
Some 8 recipients brought back color-printed Jingsi aphorisms. The words of wisdom will help them get through the epidemic time.
In Vietnam, Tzu Chi volunteers conducted aid distributions in Tra Vinh province. They distributed cooking oil, rice, and daily necessities to impoverished families. Tzu Chi volunteers also took the opportunity to share the story of the bamboo bank era, and many aid recipients adopted the coin banks, hoping to spread the love and care to other people who are also in need.
the epidemic, Vietnam Tzu Chi volunteers hold aid distributions, benefiting impoverished families.
Thấy cô cười vui quá vậy. Tôi mừng ăn, được gạo ăn. Tiếp nhận được cái phần quà này cô thấy là phải nói.
I think it is meaningful for the residents to receive these gifts. With the rice, daily supplies and cash, people do not have to worry about living expenses for the next 2 months.
Thế là phải nói bà con có thể sống được cỡ 2 tháng, ổn định cái sinh hoạt cỡ 2 tháng.
At the distribution site, volunteers share the story of bamboo bank era so residents can learn about the importance of giving.
The money in the coin bank will be used to help less fortunate people. Saving up in coin banks is cultivating blessings. After we pour the money out to help others, our blessings will increase.
Seeds of compassion have been planted in the residents' minds.
I got a coin bank, ready to do good deeds. I am old and I can only put in however many coins I have. Although I am not rich, I can save up little by little and help other people.
I will cultivate myself and do the best to embrace vegetarianism. When I have money, I will put 4 to 8 cents in there to help other people.
Unfortunately, it rained. Residents try to stay dry and carry the supplies, with volunteers becoming their best helpers.
This is my first time joining activities. I feel very happy as I can do my share to help less fortunate people. I help Tzu Chi volunteers distribute supplies to the residents.
As the volunteers help the residents, they've also felt the joy of giving.
After the outbreak of COVID-19, countries around the world face a shortage of masks and protective equipment. In order to protect frontline nursing staff, Tzu Chi Canada donated 120,000 disposable masks and 4,000 face shields to the British Columbia government. In addition, volunteers went to the local shelters to provide masks for vulnerable groups.
Tzu Chi volunteers carry boxes of masks to this important shelter.
Thank you very much. In Surrey, we actually serve thousands of women and children. We have several facilities here for homeless women and children. We go through PPE very quickly, and so this donation is incredibly meaningful to us.
The donation of these 5,000 masks are like much-needed rain. Volunteers especially sent a letter of blessing from Master Zheng Yan. Care and condolence is never restricted by distance, especially during the epidemic. A shortage of anti-epidemic materials existed, leading Tzu Chi Canada chapter to donate 120,000 masks and 4,000 protective face shields to the British Columbia government.
And on behalf of PHSA and professional healthcare worker in BC, I really want to say thank you, and we really appreciate your support and the work that your foundation has done for the entire community. Thanks very much.
I hope these disposable masks can finally be used by our medical staff at frontline, whether it's a doctor or a nurse. I hope they can be better protected to fight against this outbreak.
Love from all over the world is gathering together so that frontline medical staff can concentrate on epidemic prevention without fear or worry.
During the epidemic, Chile's Tzu Chi volunteers continue to deliver epidemic prevention supplies to the needy. Recently, despite the freezing cold weather, they delivered surgical masks, adult diapers, and socks to a public hospital. Let's join them there.
On the streets of Chilean capital Santiago, people have set up tents under the freezing weather.
Many people set up tents along the road. Under such low temperature, they must be having a hard time living under such conditions.
As the epidemic becomes more severe in Chile, the government has implemented a lockdown.
We bought 500 pieces of adult diapers and have collected 600 pairs of socks from overseas Chinese. We will deliver them to San Juan de Dios Hospital.
Since public gathering was not allowed during the epidemic time, this couple did all the packing of Tzu Chi's aid supplies.
We did it at a small dining area in our home. We used this small space, and the two of us slowly packed all the supplies.
St. John de Dios Hospital mainly provides palliative ward services. In March, there was cross-infection in the hospital, and 14 confirmed patients were taken in. In need of aid supplies, they sought help from Tzu Chi.
In the hospital, medical staff and the sanitation workers are equally important. We hope these seniors who have contracted COVID-19 can recover soon and reunite with their families at home. Of course, we appreciate Tzu Chi for your 35 years of service in Chile.
The two volunteers have not stopped packing aid supplies. 2 large boxes of 40-kilogram epidemic prevention supplies have been delivered to a senior who lives hundreds of kilometers away.
The reason why Taiwan can avoid an epidemic outbreak is partly because of the clear guidance by the government and also a high level of cooperation throughout the nation. Especially for passengers who return to Taiwan from abroad, a special fleet of taxis take them directly from Taoyuan International Airport. Although it is a high-risk activity, no driver has been infected so far, proving they have successfully protected the safety of returning families and foreign visitors. They are just one of the heroes behind Taiwan's epidemic prevention network.
Due to the coronavirus epidemic, international flights were mostly canceled, and overseas travelers wanting to return home faced a daunting task.
Before arriving at the airport, I had to take a long-distance bus, and I was afraid that I would get infected on the bus. After arriving at Kansai Airport, I saw many Taiwanese compatriots who were fully covered in protective equipment, which let me feel at ease.
After 9 hours of bus plus 3 hours of flight, she finally arrived in Taiwan.
As soon as we left the airport, the first thing he did was spray and disinfect alcohol all over the body. And then he also took the luggage and then sprayed it all carefully, and then helped me put it in the back of the car.
你好，小姐，到哪里？
我要到台东县政府附近。
好。
As soon as he entered the address into the navigation map, the screen reported that the destination was 6 hours and 22 minutes away. From my perspective in the back of the car, I think that he must have had some regret.
隔离的地点其实一开始在导航的时候也搜寻不到这个地方。
My location was originally not searchable on the navigation system at the beginning, so we later decided that it might be better to go into the main road near the location, and I will ask my dad to meet us on the roadside and let us in, as the destination was quite far and remote.
This trip back home was finally completed after 24 hours when Xiao Yu returned to Taiwan for 2 months. A Da'ai News interview team found the driver who brought her home. He said what impressed him the most was that she didn't go to the toilet for 8 or 9 hours.
If she wanted to go to the toilet, I would have to take the alcohol spray and lead her to the area, and then disinfect her, and then come back. Fortunately, she didn't need this, so there are many complicated movements that weren't needed to bring her home.
When entering the epidemic fleet, there is a transparent protective curtain in the car to block the front seats from the back. This is a device that must be added to almost every taxi involved in this fleet.
At the beginning, my husband said that since we want to be part of this epidemic team, a protective curtain must be made before we can take passengers. The main thing was to isolate the front from the back. The air conditioner in front would circulate externally, not internally.
The passengers we take require us to treat each person like they are covered with the virus all over their body. When they get into the car or touches anything, you have to clean it and use alcohol disinfectant.
In order to avoid causing panic among the people, the epidemic prevention team usually does not disinfect the car where passengers get off. The taxi team's logo is also designed to be a magnet, which can be removed if necessary.
When my family was out to do hiking or some other activities, we'll take the logo off so people can feel less frightened when they saw our vehicles.
Every driver in the epidemic fleet should measure their body temperature when entering the rest area at the airport. The drivers have to protect themselves and protect their families, and some even take care by sleeping in the car 3 to 5 days a week.
Sometimes I just go home and take a shower, and then come here to rest. I try not to have long periods of contact with my family.
I stagger my visit home to avoid my family. For example, I would go back when my children were in class, and I only go home when my wife is at work.
I have to take risks because of my deep feelings for my country. Just like all of us drivers who have participated in the 18th taxi fleet, we will never let the people come back to the country without car transportation.
I felt it was a sense of honor to welcome people to our country.
I'm confident. So far, no one in the epidemic taxi fleet has been infected while serving these guests.
In fact, we have been serving from January to February, even during Lunar New Year. We have been doing this epidemic prevention work until March 4th, when the government started to do more point-to-point home delivery. While doing all of these epidemic actions, we have all been safe.
With proper protective equipment and a spirit of service, these special taxis at the airport have successfully served the front line of epidemic prevention in Taiwan, providing a vital service in the battle against the epidemic.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought various impacts to Indonesia. In addition to people's living habits, the economy has been greatly affected. In order to restore the economy as soon as possible, since last month, Jakarta International Airport began to resume domestic and international flights. But travel restrictions are still very strict. Let's take a look.
In order to restore the economy, from June onwards, Indonesian government gradually relaxed relaxations on all kinds of travel. At Jakarta Airport, strict restrictions are imposed on domestic and international air passengers. The Indonesian COVID-19 task force works with Jakarta International Airport Authority to ensure that people entering and leaving the country must meet various conditions. In addition, limited seats are given priority to medical personnel, military and police personnel, government officials, and office workers on business trips. Apart from air tickets, passengers must bring a valid 7-day health certificate and a business travel certificate signed by the work unit in order to cross the city.
All passengers must bring the required documents, including health and work certificates. Before departure and buying an air ticket, these documents must be presented. As for international flights, we're currently preparing to do health check for those migrant workers returning from abroad.
Moreover, to prevent a large number of migrant workers from entering Indonesia, the airport authority stipulates that passengers must carry a valid 7-day rapid test or PCR examination certificate. Also, a building near the airport was set aside for an isolation area.
For health certificate, we also provide a rapid test here. Samples can be taken at our terminal. There is an isolated area where general passengers cannot enter.
Passengers are required to arrive at the airport 3 hours in advance and pass a series of tests before they can depart on time.
Next, we take a look at China. During the Dragon Boat Festival, a dozen of Tzu Chi volunteers in Kunshan were mobilized to make nearly 1,000 zongzi in 3 days. They sent the homemade zongzi to care recipients and scholarship recipients, warming their hearts as well.
At 7 o'clock in the morning, the Kwanzaa liaison office is very busy. Volunteers in the community also come to help. They give up their way of wrapping zongzi and learn it again, so that each one is fully filled.
A feeling of happiness and blessed. My love and happiness are wrapped in it.
This time, nearly 1,000 pieces of vegetarian zongzi will be made and give to Tzu Chi care recipients and scholarship recipients. The hardest and most difficult task is to stand beside a large pot to cook zongzi.
Although it's hot, I don't have any unsatisfactory nor uncomfortable feeling. It's even better to sweat.
Everyone is doing happily and expect those who will get the zongzi can also be blessed. This is the family who received the zongzi and the greetings from afar. Wang Sisi and Wang Jiaqi are the children suffered from fire burn before. The volunteers who are unable to return to Kwanzaa from Taiwan due to the epidemic, especially asked someone to convey their care.
Hi, Sisi and Jiaqi, how are you? I remember correctly, both of you should be in grade 7 right now, right?
It is the first time for volunteers to visit scholarship recipients in Tianjin School. They also bring the festive zongzi with them. Most of the scholarship recipients are from migrant worker families, and their financial status is not quite well. Tzu Chi gives them subsidies and also cares for their emotion.
These are our Rabbi Tzu Chi volunteers. This is known as Love Zhongzi.
It is the first time for the teacher to join the visit, and he has a lot of feelings. He also applied for Tzu Chi's scholarship for his children's tuition fee more than 10 years ago.
My application was successful. I received the subsidy, so I got it through, was able to meet you. Now I became braver and stronger. Thank you very much.
The zongzi of love are distributed to every household, so the residents can feel volunteers' most sincere care and love.
Also in China, Tzu Chi began the affinity in Liancheng County, Fujian Province back in 2015. On the first recycling day in the community, more than 20 volunteers in Xiamen and Quanzhou went there to assist. Many residents who just observed nearby originally donated their recyclables they have kept for a long time after listening to the explanation from Tzu Chi volunteers.
Volunteers are sorting recyclables and some children followed them. They explain clearly how to do it.
This is the same. It cannot be thrown in the pure white group. It belongs to the plastic bag group of mixed colors. And this belongs to paper while this is plastic. They are of different value.
Everyone knows to take materials here to recycle, yet we don't know how to sort them. So we hope some people will help us. Today, there are so many people coming from Xiamen and Quanzhou to help. I'm so excited that I don't know what to say.
Seeing some residents come to have a look, Tzu Chi volunteers immediately invite them to do recycling together.
Doing recycling cannot go without you, me, or him. Everybody comes together.
Responding to the call, the resident Liao Xiaofen donates the recyclables kept for a long time.
The recyclables I kept actually can be sold for money, but I'm willing to donate them.
I think that people here are very simple. As long as she knows you're doing good deeds, she's willing to donate it. So I think it is really good to start like this today, which is set as the recycling day of Liancheng, and it's also the first time for Liancheng to do recycling. This gives us volunteers confidence and Liancheng volunteers to feel reassured.
From being the observer to taking actions, Liancheng residents start to reduce the burden on the earth, taking responsibility in environmental protection.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Neihu held a vegetarian sharing session to encourage the local residents to adopt a vegetarian diet. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.